Next we get to Bret Hart versus Vince McMahon. I'm not going to rate this. I don't think anyone really expects me to rate it because it wasn't much of anything. You know, it accomplished what it set out to do, and it did deliver in a certain way. But I do think this could have been done a little bit better. You know, as someone who has read Bret Hart's book, I could personally believe that maybe the Hart family could have been paid off by Vince to turn against Bret. I could have bought into that at least for a little while, but they could have probably done a better job of emphasising in the weeks leading up to this the dysfunction within the Hart family. Bret mentioned it a little bit, but not really enough to really make the Hart family heel turn really mean a lot. And then, of course, they turned them face right away, which really wasn't a good thing in my opinion, because that pretty much meant that Bret squashed Vince. And if they wanted to do that, it didn't have to be this long. That's just what I'm saying. You know, if you want Bret to squash Vince, fine, but don't have it be this long. If you want it to be this long, you have to let Vince control at least a portion of the match. Not half of it, not even a lot of it, just a little bit of the match to kind of drag the length of it a little bit, because this was too long for a squash, in my opinion. Now, it was kind of fun to see the Hart family circle the ring, slapping on the ring mat as Bret Hart squashed Vince, but this could have come off a little bit better, in my opinion, if you had let Vince control the pace of this match at least for a little while, and let the Hart family stay heel at least for a little while, not until the ending. I'm not saying they had to stay heel until the ending of the match, but just for the first maybe few minutes of the match, it would have maybe come off a little bit better, in my opinion. You know, that's just my opinion. I'm not a huge Bret Hart fan. I'm not a hater of his by any means, but I'm not a huge fan. So, you know, if Bret Hart fans are happy with this return, and they think that Bret got the payoff that he deserved, that's fine. And if, you know, Bret Hart himself is happy with this, then that's all that really matters. So no real complaints. I think it could have come off a little bit better, but it was still okay. It wasn't terrible to look at. I just think it could have been a little more special. That's just my opinion. But let's move on. Chris Jericho and Edge. This, in my opinion, was the second best match of the night. This was a lot of fun, in my opinion. You know, they didn't have a tremendous amount of time, but they did a lot of stuff in the time that they were given. There was some really nice counters in this match, a lot of really unexpected counters to moves that I was expecting. All of a sudden, the match would turn a different way. I was really entertained by this from beginning to end, and the ending was done perfectly. You know, neither of these guys have had much great success with their WrestleMania main event careers. You know, since winning his first WWE Championship, Edge has won once at WrestleMania, and that wasn't even a WrestleMania main event. It was an undercard match against Mick Foley. So, you know, he needed a WrestleMania main event win as much as Jericho did, especially considering that he had won the Royal Rumble. But this worked well for both guys. You know, Jericho managed to keep the belt in, you know, a quick, out of nowhere fashion with the code breaker at the end. That was a very good way to do it. And then you let Edge have a spear spot at the end, which was very cool to see. You know, it worked well for both guys, and I was really happy with the way they did this. No complaints. It was a very good match and a very good way to end it, to keep both guys looking strong and let the feud move forward into the summer. So definitely the second best match of the night, in my opinion. I was very entertained by this, and I really thought the ending came off well for both guys. So there we go on that. You know, I was surprised that Jericho won, because I never really thought that the WWE saw him as anything more than a transitional champion as of right now. You know, you could I think even now, I think that if you let Jericho have the belt for the next 6 months, his legacy will still be defined by his undisputed title win and the record number of IC title reigns. You know, if this world title reign is extremely long, it still wouldn't be much in the way of remembered in his legacy. I was surprised that they did not just have him in another transitional title reign. They let him win at WrestleMania. But definitely no complaints because of the way Edge went out. This was very fun and a very good match, in my opinion. Then we get to the women's match. You know, what can I say? It wasn't much of anything. I was actually okay with this when they were all hitting their finishers, because I thought, okay, this is fine. This is actually okay. You let the Divas go in and hit their spots and go away. That's fine. This is actually okay. And you know, the ending was terribly sloppy. I will say that kind of ruined any chance of this match had of being actually considered very good. Not very good, but okay. because when they were hitting their finishers, I was fine with this. They went out and did their spots, they go away, that would have been fine. But then they had to have the very sloppy finish where Vicky came off very badly in a frog splash, and botched execution, not very good. And I'm going to give it a star and a half because it wasn't a dud. They went out and hit their spots, which was okay for them to be able to do that at WrestleMania. That would have been fine if it wasn't with a sloppy ending, which really killed it. And that's all I have to say about that. Not very good at all. Next we get to John Cena versus Batista for the WWE Championship. This was very good in my opinion. This was very dramatic. A lot of good spots. Some new stuff from these guys. The top rope 5-knuckle shuffle from Cena was good to see. And those good transitions between finishing moves. That was very good to see. And I was kind of disappointed with the front row crowd because the Cena haters seemed to come out in their droves into the front rows in a noticeable way, because there were some guys in the front row that had noticeable "We Hate Cena" t-shirts, and then there was one sign that said, "If Cena wins, we all demand refunds." I was just disappointed in that, because if anyone really thinks that Cena is still a Superman, they need to really wake up a little bit, because this was not a bad match. This was a very good match in my opinion. And, the funny thing about that crowd though was at the end of the match, when Cena actually won, he actually got up close with those Cena haters, and they actually cozied up to him a little bit, probably because they were happy to be on camera. But still, two-faced. That was kind of funny to see. But then again, this was a very good match, and I was very entertained by this. I'm going to give it 3 3/4 stars. I'm okay with Cena winning because, of course, Batista, I think, is going to film a movie. Kind of a shame that this won't go on for much longer, this feud. But, you got to have your Cena-Batista match at WrestleMania, which you've been trying to have for a long time, as far as we know. So, this came out very well. I would say it's just a bit better than the SummerSlam match. Not a lot better, but a little bit better. And I was happy with this, so that's no complaints there. And finally, we get to the main event. The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. This was great. This was easily the best match of the night. This was extremely fun to watch. A lot more emotion than last year. I was surprised though to see that people were giving it 5 stars. I don't think this was perfect necessarily myself. That's not to say that I was disappointed in this. I was not disappointed. I was very satisfied, and I thought it was great. I wasn't going into this thinking that if this was not 5 stars, this is not going to be a good match. I did not think that at all, and I was definitely not disappointed in this just because I don't give it 5 stars. I don't think it was 5 stars though, because this was not perfect in my opinion. The first half of the match, I would say, was very good. Was pretty much perfect, with HBK working over Taker's leg. That was very well done, and pretty much everything up to the tombstone on the outside spot was brilliant to watch. I would say that pretty much perfectly done. And then after the tombstone was on the outside, it pretty much turned into finisher after finisher after finisher after finisher, which to me kind of diluted the impact of the false finishes. Didn't make the kickouts mean as much, because there was nothing, very little in between the finisher attempts. It was just finisher after finisher, and that did not come off extremely well in my opinion. They did it in a way that was entertaining, but I just don't think that they could have been done a lot better if you had given these guys like 5 or 10 more minutes and let them put in some filler in between the finisher attempts. I don't think it should have been like finisher, filler, finisher, filler. You can have some finishers back to back, but I think they did overdo it a little bit in this match. But not enough to ruin the match. There was nothing that could have ruined this match in my opinion. Just because I'm saying that doesn't mean I don't think this was a great match. I think this was a great match. I was satisfied with it. The moonsault spot was awesome. I will say that was amazing to watch, that moonsault spot through the table. That was great to see, and the ending was fantastic. The ending was fantastic, with the slap to Undertaker's face, and then the tombstone with a little jump to it to kind of give it an extra little bit of gumption. That was great. I did think this was amazing. I just don't think it was 5 stars. That's my only thing. It wasn't perfect in my opinion. That's all the reason I'm only giving it not 5 stars. I was not disappointed. I did not think this was any way disappointing. This was very, very good. Just not 5 stars in my opinion. That's all I have to say about that. The ending was fantastic though. Came off very well. Then Shawn Michaels got to go out the way he wanted to, which was very nice to see. Maybe I'll gain more respect for this match if this actually is Shawn Michaels' last match. I'm not sure if it will be, but I probably will grow to think that this match is perfect if this is Shawn Michaels' last match, because it definitely lets Shawn Michaels go out on a high note. In my opinion, if this is his last match, then no complaints here. He definitely got to go out in a grand fashion. So that's my review of WrestleMania 26. Overall, I give it at least an 8.5, maybe an 8.75. I don't think it's quite a 9, but it's definitely up there in the top 10, maybe even the top 5. And that's all I have to say about that. I'm out. Later.